So you could literally, you could ask about marital status, you could ask about kids, you could ask about work history, you could ask about anything you wanted to when I literally started. That's how long I've been doing it. I've been through now 3 cycles of unemployment, employment, unemployment, employment. But the fact of the matter is, in all those years, I will tell you, this is the worst one we've ever had. And the workforce has literally, the nature of work has changed. Not only has the nature of work changed, but the nature of workers have changed. The way we communicate has changed. It's all changed, and again, back to that one quote, if the change outside your business is greater than the change inside your business, the fact of the matter is you're going out of business. So we've got to look at the changes and say, okay, how do we adapt to it? How do we get that young worker in? How do we attract that older worker? And we talked about doing a lot of things, and today we're not going to talk about management as much as we're going to talk about recruiting. We're going to talk about attracting talent into your system. What are some of the basic common sense things that we can do to attract the kind of people we need into this? So I've been doing this for literally 40 years. My expertise today is literally focused on hourly employees, but the same thing that works for the hourly employees works for salaried employees. You begin to look at, where do we, it's actually in most cases more difficult to find hourly employees than it is to find salaried employees today. Hourly employees aren't in some of the places you go looking for them. So we have to look at how do we attract them. I mean, we can talk about both sides of the coin, because both sides of the coin want some of the same things, but we need to focus specifically on, today we're not going to talk about how to be a better manager. We are going to talk about, and I'm going to briefly start with talking about asking one question, and you can answer if you want to, but the question I ask is, we want to hire a great employee. And we did the last webinar, and you can go back that we did with Tom. If you want to hire a great employee, the question is, okay, why should that great employee come to work for you? That's the number one question you need to be asking yourself. Why should a great employee want to come to work for you? I call it your unique employment proposition. Okay, do you have a list of the top 5, 10 reasons that a great employee should come to work for you? Because if you don't have a list, they're not going to get a list. And we can talk about how to build a list. We're not going to do that today, but you've got to go out and build. In fact, I just got through doing another session yesterday, and somebody in the maid cleaning services sent me their list. And I have to tell you, it was absolutely awesome. They spent a lot of time talking about, and they talk about heart. They talk about caring. They care for their customers. They care for their employees. It's an absolutely great list. And you know what? They're fully staffed. And in fact, they can run an ad that says, become pre-approved. Would you like to become pre-approved to work here? In the house cleaning business, they literally have people waiting to go to work for them, because they're the kind of place people want to work. So you begin to look. If I was to say anything, build that list. But okay, so you got a list, but the question is, where do I find people? How do I attract them? How do I bring them into the system? Let me give you the absolute number one most overlooked source. And I'm going to be very pragmatic, and I'm going to sit here and give you a number of key ideas. I've literally written a little booklet called 101 Places to Recruit People From. But it lists everything. It's like adopt a church. Okay, adopt the church. It talks about hiring people with criminal records. It talks about all kinds of people. But let's look at some very specific things that no matter whether you're hourly or professional, let's look at, okay, what is the number one source of proven great employees? Not in numbers, but if you hire them, the odds are going to be great. And that number one source is people who have left you. If you've had a great employee who has left you, have you reached out to them recently? We know, and there's great reason to reach out to them right now. If you've lost a great employee in the last couple of years, now's a great time to reach out to them. And what do you reach out to them and say? You reach out to them and say, hey, Joe, I needed to reach out to you. Everybody out there is unhappy with their jobs. Everybody's looking for something new. And, we were thinking about it. And you know what? You were a great employee. I'd love to talk to you about the changes we've made to make us a better place to work. And I'd love to talk about possibly you coming back to work for us. What's the worst answer you get? No. But the fact of the matter is, what did you just do? You just gave somebody some positive recognition. And that's the most important gift. And the one gift, going back to better managers, the one gift that managers have 100% control over and costs no money is recognition. And the fact of the matter is, Gallup poll says, in-depth poll, this is not 100 people or 1,000 people, it's over 175,000 people who have said that 70% of them said they have received no, these are active workers who have said they've received no recognition at work in the last year. Nobody's told them they've done a good job. Nobody thanked them for being there every day and work. Nobody's given them any recognition. And you picked up the phone and called somebody who's left you and said, hey, I just had to get back to you because, you know, things are changing and we've changed a lot. And I know that I'd love to have you come back. I have somebody in the trucking business, and I will tell you right now, as a year ago, they said we're 45,000 truck drivers short in this country today. The National Trucking Association now says we're 65,000 truck drivers short in this country today. And here we go, and they're literally saying, hey, the number one key out there is truck drivers. And they went out and they had 35 of them that had been within the last 5 years that had left. Nice operation. They picked up the phone and contacted every one of those 35. They got 5 of them that came back. So you begin to look, this is the key. Can we go after those people who have left them? Can we bring them back? This is what we're looking at. Go after the people who have left you. Make them feel good. You know whether they're good or not. The other one, if in training, I always say you need to check references. You need to make sure you check references. If somebody calls you for a reference on an employee, you know 2 things about that employee. What do you know? You know that employee was good, and right now you know they're looking for a job. If they know they're good and they know they're looking for a job, what should you do? It's really simple. You say to the person who called you for reference, we'd say, Tom, I would love you to give you a reference on Glenn. I would love to give you, but we need his permission to do it. If you'll give me his contact information, I'll reach out to him and get permission for me to talk to you. What did you just get? You got Glenn's contact information. What do? I pick up the phone and I call Tom and said, Tom, hey, Glenn, I said, Glenn, I called Tom and I say, hey, Tom, I understand you're looking for a new job. What's going on? Hey, we'd love to have you back. Anytime somebody calls you looking for a reference on somebody, what is personnel? They say, you got to talk to personnel. What does personnel say? I can't tell you anything. Oh, no, we changed the script. We would love to tell you something. We just need permission. Give me his information. I'll get permission and then I'll talk to you. I did this. I can always remember I did this at a conference, apartment association, looking for a regional manager. And I told this story. And on the escalator going down, one of the guys came over to me and says, I hate you. I said, what do you mean you hate me? I've never met you. He said, the advice you gave me recently, the advice you gave in that meeting recently cost me $37,000. I said, what are you talking about? He says, I'm a recruiter. I had recruited somebody out of an apartment association meeting. I had recruited in the apartment industry to go someplace else. And I got them all convinced to go. And we called to get references on this person. And they now knew he was looking for a job. And they went back and they re-recruited him and they took him away from me. Cost me $37,000 for the advice that you just gave. But the number one source of great people who have left you. The number 2 great source of people who come back looking for referrals on the great employees you had in the past. Those are 2. What's number 3? We all know what number 3 is. Number 3 is people who come from referral. People, if somebody have told you this person is good. I just got off a call this morning, though I have to tell you something. And these are people in the house cleaning business. and she's got a great operation. I tell you what, she's got a great operation. She's got a top 10 list. She's got great employees. But we were sitting there and talking about the fact that people who come from referral, and she says, my employees even tell me, she says, I can give you a referral, but I don't think they're any good. She's literally saying that people are saying, okay, anytime you get a referral, and this was a lesson I learned 15 years ago, and I can still remember the presentation to this day. Some things just stand out. But anytime you get a referral from an employee, anytime you get a referral from a customer, there's a question you need to be asking. And that question is that a referral or is that a recommendation? Are they just referring that person or are they recommending that person? So you begin to look at, build a referral bonus program. Now, let me tell you what, okay, when you go for referral bonus program, we talked, and it depends. First of all, remember when you have a referral bonus program, they do not have to be static. You don't have to run it for a year. You don't have to run it for, you don't have to give the same amount. You can vary what you need to do based on the position you have. If you need a carpenter in today's world, carpenters are worth a lot of money. You know what? I pay more for a carpenter referral than I do for a plumber referral if I'm in the home maintenance business. What is that job that you need? Okay, build a referral program. I sit there and I talk to people about referral programs all the day. Let me tell you what they say. Yeah, we got a referral program. I say, how does it work? Most people say it doesn't work very well. Why doesn't it work very well? Well, first of all, okay, are they market? What do they do? Okay, if somebody says, if you give us a referral and they stay for 90 days, we'll give you a reward. They pay when they get they pay not when they get the referral, not when they hire them, but if we hire them and they don't last, then we're not going to pay you. You made the hiring decision. You're the one who said, this is somebody we need to hire. You're the one that brought them in. You're the one that managed them. Why are you blaming the other person if they didn't work? And there's also this lovely course called Psychology 101. Now, it's been a long time since I took Psychology 101, but I remember one thing out of the course. Behavior, I want repeated, needs to be rewarded. And when do you reward the behavior? You reward the behavior when you get it. That's when you reward the behavior. So the fact of the matter is, are you, when it comes to rewarding that person, are you giving them a reward when you hired that referral? That's when you give them the reward. Okay. And maybe not all. And you know what? And how do most of us do it? We put in their paycheck. Okay. If you run a store like when we went to Dunkin' Donuts, like a couple of you running here, and we got an employee that came from referral, you know what I would do? The day they came in, I'd say, hey, everybody, I want everybody to meet Joe. And Joe was about Bob, and we know he's going to be terrific. What did I do? I just set the expectation. And by the way, for bringing us Bob, what do you get? Get $100. Hold out your hand and count out 10 brand new $10 bills in front of everybody, customers and everybody else. Wow. What is every other employee saying? Hey, I know somebody. Or maybe you even say to the customer, hey, by the way, all you customers, if you want a place to work where it's great, but you know what, if you know anybody's looking, or you got kids are looking, hey, you know what? Love to talk to them. And we'll give you the bonus. Get it from everybody. But you do immediate. Now, but bluntly, I don't like giving away money. I'm sorry, I'm tight. I don't like giving away money. What would they like to have? What would that person really like to have? I have one of my customers, and they do it. This is hourly for a minute. I'm back at hourly, but we can flip this over to salary. And they have in their office, they have some balloons on the wall, and somebody refers somebody, and what do? They say, take an arrow and take the dart and hit the balloon, whatever in the balloon you win. They have fun. I have another one. You refer somebody, you get to pick an envelope. Whatever in that envelope, you win. And you know what? I know that Joe needed tires for his car. Guess what he won? I know that somebody wanted to, would love a fancy restaurant. I know somebody want whatever they want. I can guarantee you what's in and what they're going to win because the exact same thing is in all 5 minutes. Maybe it's 2 tickets to a sporting event. Maybe whatever it is they want. By the way, do you know your employees well enough to know what they'd like to win? I'll give you one recently. One of my customers did. Here's what she won. Okay. She won her house cleaning free for a year. Now, this was a big referral. I will tell you, it was a big referral. Okay. This was a $75,000 job of somebody that had a tough time finding. And one of the people referred him to him and he said, you know what? We appreciate that so much. How would you like to have your house cleaned every single week for the next year? Cost her $4,000. But you know what? What do you think that woman talked about for the next year? And you know what? One of the guys said, say, if I refer somebody, will you do that? Because my wife would love me. You begin to think, what would they like to have? The best source of people comes from referral. Build a referral system that'll work, that will get you people in the door. So that's what you begin to look at. So you've got a referral system. Okay. So what's next? Okay. One other thing about referrals. When you ask for referrals, you need to shrink the pool. Most of us go to referral and say, hey, do you know anybody? That gives you the entire world in which you want to attract somebody. No, you don't want to attract from the entire world. You want to say, do you know somebody who goes to your church? Do you know somebody in the organization you're involved in? Do you know, if you came to me and said, hey, Mel, I'm looking for somebody. Is there anybody in National Speakers Association you could bring? How about if you said to somebody, hey, is there anybody in the neighborhood you know? Shrink the pool. Go through your database. Is there anybody in your database that possibly would be good for it? Shrink the pool. That's how you get referrals. That's how salespeople get referrals. All this is recruiting is marketing with a rotten budget. So begin to look at this. Okay, so those are some of the sources. But then you begin to then we talk about advertising, and we can spend hours talking about it. Why should somebody, when you're advertising, what is the number one key? If you're using Talenttree, if you're using in LinkedIn, if you're using if you're using, you're using LinkedIn, you're using whatever out there.
Beyond. Those Beyond, you have all those different.
But it's so interesting. I had one of my one potential client, and they go in and you put in what site were you talking about a minute ago, Tom? Which site did you mention?
Beyond. There's a number of those. Craigslist, Beyond, Indeed.
Indeed. If you look at Indeed, for example, I'll tell you an Indeed story. I also tell you Craigslist story, but I'll tell you about Indeed, for example. You use Indeed. This company looks for truck drivers. They're in the moving business. You go to their website, you click on their website to apply for a job, and it takes you to they use Indeed as their job board, and it takes you to Indeed, and you look at Indeed on there, and what happens is it tells you how their company is rated by other drivers as a place to work. And you know what the rating was? Out of a scale of 5, it was 2.3. Why would they do that? Have you looked at where you're directing your people who apply to you? What is the message they're getting when they go in to apply? Are they getting, hey, this is a great place to work? Or, you know what? They'll tell you, this site literally said, they'll tell you whatever, one of the drivers said, they'll tell you whatever it takes to get you to go to work, and they'll never deliver. And they're wondering why they haven't got enough drivers. Think about what is the message they see when you made it. Somebody you talked about Craigslist. I just had a conversation this morning on Craigslist. Literally, it's an old paper, but if anybody wants it, if you'll drop me a note, I'll send it to you. It's not new, but it's an old paper on Craigslist. One of the keys to running ads on Craigslist, if you hire hourly employees, is when do you post the ad? The number one key on Craigslist is when do you post the ad? Because if you post an ad today, let's assume you go into Craigslist to post an ad because it's, you got time. When does that ad show up? 2 minutes after you post it. And every single ad after that shows up. Now you want to hire somebody working. What are the odds that somebody who is working would be on Craigslist at 12, at my time, 11:24? No, they're not going to be there. They're not going to be on Craigslist. They're working, but that's the person I want to. When are they going to be on Craigslist? Oh, they'll be on Craigslist tonight, maybe after 7:30. When should you post your ad? Well, if you post it now, every other ad that got hit Craigslist between now and 7:30 is in front of yours. Post your ads at 7:30. Post your ads on Sunday at noon, because the biggest traffic area for people looking for jobs on Craigslist is Sunday evening of people who are working. Those are just some of the tricks to using Craigslist. You begin to look. Think about the ad you're running. Think about the words that you're using to attract the people. You know what? That if you're running an ad on Indeed, if you're running a Craigslist, if you're running an ad anywhere, what's the most important thing? The title. The title is the most important part of the ad. Okay. How about you may put a job title. I'm looking for a machinist, or I'm looking for an accountant. I'm looking for finance man. It doesn't matter. What's the fact of the matter is, are you really looking for a change? Or the fact of the matter is, come for the job, stay for the career. Are you tired? Do you have a proven track record? I'll give you my favorite ad for administrative person. If I'm looking for Mr. I use it for truck drivers. I use it for everybody else. Are you my next Leslie? Like, I'm looking for an administrative person. I say, are you my next Leslie? Or I need another Leslie. And then I tell them about Leslie. I'll tell them about the fact that Leslie's worked with us for 15 years. I tell them the fact that Leslie started in this job, but she now has ended up in this job. I'm telling the fact that Leslie, I love Leslie because I don't manage Leslie. Leslie manages me. I tell them all the nice things about Leslie. And I tell them all the right reasons I like working with Leslie. And then, you know what? I'm looking for the Leslie. I get 100 responses to that ad for an administrative assistant. I do one thing in that ad, though. In the ad, in the body of that ad, I say, when you respond to this email or you respond to this ad, in the subject line, put the number 227. I made up the number. You can put number 11, 15, 220. I say, I don't know where 227 came from, but I tell everybody, when you respond to the ad, put the number 227 in the subject line. And I'll get 150 responses. You know what? Only 17 of them had the number 227 in the subject line. What did that tell you? Only 17 of them read the ad. Only 17 of them read the point that said, the most important thing that Leslie has is the high attention to detail. I didn't open the other 100, but the 17 already screened themselves into my system, not screened themselves out. Look at the tools you use to go out and create the people you want. Look at the headlines: immediate opening, exclusive, the best, change of pace. Are you looking for a change of pace? Now, imagine you loved your job. That word imagine in headlines is unbelievable. Imagine you love your job. So those are just a couple of coups to help you go out and recruit a little bit better, Tom. So does that give me, have you got any questions? I've done a lot of talking.
Mel, it's been great. Right now, we're running down to the end of the half hour here. However, we wanted to design this webinar. So if there are questions, specific questions that you have, right now is a good time to ask them, and we'll be here for those questions. So who's got the first question they'd like to ask Mel Kleiman? Just Just
So
raise your
in
hand.
the very beginning, you talked about a little booklet that you had about when you hire somebody and you say you're hired. Now what? Where can we get that?
Just go to my website.
Okay.
Okay, if you, there's actually two books, I would recommend two books. They're little booklets. It's really simple. I'm not, but it's just 21. It's like, I'll tell you my favorite one. First, there's a couple. Number one, you have a choice. Tell people, the employees, you have a choice. You have a choice to be good and you have a choice to be great. Look at the competition. It's easy to be better than everybody else out there. Just, you know what? Talking about it. It's just little clues to help these people that nobody's ever taught them these things. The other one, there's a booklet that comes that I'd recommend with it called, and you may have seen it because it was available at Dunkin' Donut, but that one is the 5 First. And the 5 First deals with making it's the, well, I'll go back because thank you for asking the question, because it triggers one other source of applicants. But the 5 First is, how do you make the, what is the one, it's built on the concept of how do you make sure that the people you hire will stay? You hire somebody with, okay, what is the number one question that every new employee is asked at the end of the day by every person they talk to? So, you know what? Maria, I hired you, okay? At the end of the first day, your daughter's going to ask you a question. What she's going to ask you? She's going to ask you, how'd you like it?
How did you like it? Yeah.
Are you going back? You know, in your business, you know what the question is? Are you going back? What is the answer? Isn't it? You know what? Some of them leave at noon and never come back. Okay. So what is it saying? If that's the question, what does the answer need to be? We know the answer needs to be great, terrific, unbelievable, fabulous. Do you make the first day the best day any new employee ever had? That's the question. And this booklet talks about how you do that and how you build them up and how you get them to understand what it's all about. But that's the 5 First. One of the things in the 5 First is one of the absolute best sources of great new employees are new employees that you just hired. If you make it a great place to work, you can say to that person, you know, and we talk about, it was a great, we made the first week a great week. Okay. At the end of the week, we go and say, you know, Maria, how'd the week go? Have any questions? Have any concerns? What we could have done to make it better? Let me ask you, you were working someplace else before you came to work for us, right? Let me ask you, you know, were there some other great employees over there? Yeah. Oh, who over there would you like to see working with us over here? If you made the first week a great week, they'll give you 2 or 3 names. So you begin to look at it. You know, did you make the first week the best week they ever had? Did you make the first hour? This isn't a retention, but I get hooked to it. Especially in the hourly workers with so many options. And as you talked about the work ethic, if they don't like it, they're not coming back. How many of them got frustrated the first day because it didn't go like they thought it would go? They got slammed. They didn't get the training they need. You got distracted. Something happened. They're frustrated. You would never let a customer work out frustrated if you knew it. So at the end of the new employee, at the end of the first day, you want to sit there and say to that new employee, if I don't come find you at the end of the day, you come find me because I want to know how the day went. You can get them to come back tomorrow. If you get them to come back tomorrow, the odds are you reduce the turnover. That's the key. So, Tom?
No, what's that website? I'm going to put it in the chat there for us. Is that your website?
Yeah, Humetrics.com.
Okay. I'm going to post that up there for everybody.
HUMETRCS.com.
Mm-hmm.
And if you've got a question, you can.
Yeah, post it in the chat, or just now's a good time. Unmute yourself and ask Mel what the specific question you have. He's here to help us.
Or if you have any questions, give me a call or drop me an email. You can just call me. The number's on my website. Just reach out to me. I will get back to you. But I'm here to help. So, but
Mel, let me ask you a question that I've heard from some of my clients. So when it comes to looking for the right person, people do say it's frustrating because they'll have people come in for an interview and then never come back. What do you do to prevent that from happening? In other words, are they shopping around? Are they just trying to get their appointments in so they can tell unemployment that they've went out and did their? Go, tell me.
you've got worse. How about the ones that you say they're coming in and never show up?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Two factors there. Let's take the ones that never show up. You made the process of getting the interview too easy. Interesting enough, you put no value on the interview, so why should they? So what you want to do is you want to ask them some of the tough interviewing questions and make them feel like they earned the interview. And we can do that in another webinar, but you want to make sure they earn the webinar, where they earn the session. Okay, that time. Okay. And you want to, in today's world, you want to text them, you know, it's like you make a doctor's appointment. How many text messages you get confirming that appointment? Okay. You want to text, you want to make sure you confirm the appointment with them. Okay. Get their text, confirm it. Okay. You want to, if they're working, okay, this is one that's very, very, I want to hire people who are working. I would love to hire people who are working and they get into my system. I make sure that I say, I know you're working. Okay, let's work out a time that is best for you to come to an interview because I don't want you to have to lie to your boss to show up here. Because what do they have to do if they're working and you interview between working hours? What do they have to do? They have to take off work. They're an hourly employer. I don't care if they're salaried. No, we're going to work out the use. That's our values. Our values is we would never expect you to lie to us. I don't expect you to lie to your present employer. Make them earn the interview, but make it work for both of you. Okay. I have, so you begin to look. That's number one in dealing with that particular. Okay. In the interview, okay, you've got to, again, in the interviewing process, you can ask them, okay, at the end, you know, the question is, do you have any questions for me? Let me ask you a question. How much are you gonna, I don't mind asking, how interested are you in this job? Okay, I don't mind on a scale of 1 to 10, how, you know, you can ask. You know, so ask them. But begin to look. That's all. It's just have open communications. That's the key to making it work. So I hope that's given everybody some good ideas, some things they can use, some things that they can talk about. So.
All right, so Mel, let me just say this. At this point, if you would like more information on Mel's services, go to humetrics.com. I have it up there in the chat. Feel free to give him a shout. And if you have a specific question, feel free to ask him when you do connect with him. He's got a number of books that are available, so check it out on that website. In addition to that, I'm thinking now, Mel, with this hot topic we've got going here, we need to bring you back. And if there's some particular areas our listeners or our participants here today would like to see you address, I'd like to just either put them in the chat or email me directly, and we'll make sure that those are some of the areas we address with our next program. But other than that, any other questions before we call it a morning here?
No, this was great. Thank you.
No, my pleasure. Try talking to you. Have a wonderful day.